name is Bobby Karle. I'm a Jesuit and currently living in Berkeley, California and studying at the Jesuit School of Theology. I've been practicing yoga for about 11 years now. Started practicing the year before I entered the Jesuits in 2010. And throughout the past 10 years or so, I've been integrating and studying and practicing both of these traditions, Ignatian spirituality and yoga. And over the past 4 or 5 years have developed an organization, Ignatian Yoga, with a number of other Jesuits and lay colleagues who are also practitioners and teachers of yoga and formed in the Ignatian tradition. So in Ignatian Yoga, we really try to uphold and respect the differences, the uniqueness of each tradition, but we believe that there is a lot that they can share and that they can be helpful conversation partners and that we can learn from the other to help deepen our spiritual practice, to help us to find some deeper healing, connection with God, and help us flourish and be the fullness of who we are supposed to be. So in this practice today, we'll do some breathing, some awareness of the breath. We'll do some movement and awareness of the body. But ultimately, these are steps, these are techniques that help us to calm the mind, to become a little more centered, a little more grounded, and a little bit more able to allow God's life to deepen within. So I invite you to use this as much as it helps you. Feel free to, you're at home, make this your own practice in as much as you can. And then we'll follow up in some dialogue on this. So thank you for participating in as much as you can. We will begin with a little bit of breathing meditation, just to settle in. So before we get into that, a few props, a few options here. So I'm going to begin in a chair and then eventually move down to the mat. So you may have a mat, a yoga mat, a workout mat, or a towel, or a blanket, or just a clean space where you are. I did bring a blanket as well, so this could be helpful to have a little blanket if we do some poses on our knees. And then I brought a block, can be helpful for different poses. So a pillow, so any props or anything you might have that could make this practice as safe and as comfortable for you. So to begin our meditation, I'd like to invite you into, in the words of St. Ignatius, into the grace that you're seeking. In yoga, we often invite people to set an intention. So a grace or an intention to be able to focus, what are we seeking? What do we desire? And so in this particular time for you, what is your intention? What is it that God may be inviting you to? What does God intend for you, desire for you? I'm going to read a little scripture from the Gospel of Luke, and to put forth the theme for this class that may be one you want to use as an intention, or maybe you have your own grace that you're seeking. But that is of the grace of feeling yourself as God's beloved child, God's beloved son or daughter. So I'm going to read just a few verses from Luke, from the baptism of Jesus, and then be able to use this as a thread throughout the practice of being able to open our bodies, open our minds, open our hearts to the Spirit, to God, to Christ, and who sees us as the beloved, with whom they are well pleased. So begin just connecting your feet to the ground, your seat into the chair. Begin to find a little more length in your spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. Soften the shoulders down. Begin to come into your breath. Be aware of yourself breathing and feeling God breathing life into you, that ruah, the breath that God breathes into the world, and God breathes into us each breath that we take, giving us life. You may soften the eyes or close the eyes, whatever is more comfortable for you. The baptism of Jesus from Luke's Gospel. After all the people had been baptized, Jesus was also baptized. While he was praying, heaven was opened, and the Holy Spirit came down upon him in bodily form like a dove. And a voice came from heaven, "You are my own dear Son. I am pleased with you. You are my beloved Son. You are my beloved daughter, my beloved child, with whom I am well pleased." Continue to take some breaths, and if that speaks to you, be just holding and savoring those words, feeling God, Christ, the Spirit, Mary, speaking these words to you. Or perhaps if there is another grace or intention that you'd like to just allow to rise, to feel, continuing to breathe slow and deeper breaths than normal. Perhaps breathing in through the nose and exhale through the mouth a little deeper than the inhale. Taking a few more of these, inhaling gently, holding the inhale for a moment, and exhaling a little bit longer. Inhale and exhale. Inhale exhale. Continue this breath. Dear Lord, we ask you to open our hearts, open our minds, open our bodies, to help us to know you more, to move into deeper trust, deeper relationship with you. May we feel your compassion, your mercy, your unconditional love. May this time of breath and movement and prayer be a time to come to let go of the things that hold us back from being fully alive and from being in closer relationship with you. Amen. I invite you, if you wish, to just hit the pause button and take a little bit of time, maybe to stay a little longer in that opening prayer, maybe to take a couple minutes just to journal. Perhaps a grace or intention came up for you, perhaps the verse from Luke on being God's beloved son or daughter, or perhaps there's another intention or grace that you're being invited into, or that you've been working with and praying with. So I invite you to take a little time just to savor that, whether it's writing that or just taking a little more time in prayer. So if you wish to do that, you can just pause the video and then come back and when you're done and ready to continue on to the next part. And now we'll continue on with some movement. Movement, the reason why we move really in this yoga practice and why we connect the yoga piece to the yoga asana, the physical aspect of it, is because we are embodied beings. God became human, took on flesh. And so for us to be fully human, we come to know that the body is good, and God created us out of love and goodness. And so, and yet within the body, we also carry a lot of memory, a lot of tension, trauma. So the two phrases that I like, that the issues live in our tissues, the issues live in our tissues, and then if you can't feel it, you can't heal it. So by feeling the different sensations in the body, by feeling emotion, we can begin to shift that. We can begin to minimize the charge that there may be. And little by little, we can start to release that a bit and not be controlled by it, at least. And then the other phrase similar along these lines is where your energy, where your awareness goes, your attention goes, the energy flows. So by bringing awareness into the different parts of the body, we can move the energy there, the energy that I understand to be the spirit or God's healing touch. So by bringing awareness into these places, right, we can invite God to come in and help undo, help clear out some of the cobwebs. So without further ado, let's begin to move gently, make this your own. My cues, my modeling of it are just options. So again, sitting, engaged, feet connected to the ground. Re-engaging the breath. Begin with some rolling of the shoulders. Begin taking some circles, shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears and wrapping them back and down. As slow or as big. And then switching sides about 4 or 5 times each direction. And just feeling, noticing the sensations without judging it. Right? Maybe moving one side at a time, circles, bringing any movement. Good. And then we'll begin to bring some movement to the neck. So starting some movement up and down with the chin, the head, bringing the chin towards chest. And inhale, lift the head up towards the sky. Just gently moving. This, bringing the head up and down, that often means yes. In many cultures, this movement of the head, maybe not this long and slow of a movement, but what are we saying yes to? How do we say yes to God in our life? And then moving the head side to side in this no position, right? Sometimes we have to say no to things very often, right? In order to embrace the depth of who we are, there are many things we may have to say no to. So right here in this practice, what are we saying no to? What voices? What kind of judgments or opinions? Stories? Are we saying no to and maybe not allowing to determine how we go through our life? Good. Coming back to center, and now beginning with the option of circling the neck. So you may have tension in the neck, there may be pain, so feel free to use this as much as it helps, but if there's any pain, back off. So slowly starting to take gentle circles around with the neck. About 3 circles in one direction. And then we'll move the other way in counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. Continue the breath, continue just to be aware of the sensations. You may hear some snap, crackle, pops. And coming back to center. And just notice for a moment. Just be aware of the feelings in the shoulders, the neck. Now we'll bring some movement to the spine. So, sitting with a lengthening, elongated spine, begin to take a turn over to the left side. You can bring your right hand to the outside of the left knee, or if you have the chair and there's a side of the chair, you can bring your left hand to the back of your seat, to the back of the chair, and we'll take a gentle twist. The inhale, find length, and exhale, twist. A few more times like this. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come on back to center, and we'll twist to the other side. So taking your left hand to the right knee, outside of the thigh, the left hand to the side of the chair, if there's an armrest or a side, or to the back of the chair. Root down through the feet, lengthen the spine, and twist. Very gently. And slowly coming back up. You can repeat that the same way in the chair, or another option to get a little more active would be to come standing, and then we'll take some twists with the arms, beginning to awaken the spine like so. So again, as fast or as slow, maybe tapping opposite hip, or repeat what we did in the chair on the other side. Maybe bringing your arms a little higher, just to awaken the spine, awaken the energy in the body. And relax. And either if you're seated or standing, just shake those arms out a little bit. Good. And next we're going to come into a side bend. So you can either do this standing or seated. All right, I'm going to demonstrate seated, but standing, same thing, just so you can find a little more length this way. So we'll begin with the side bend, so taking the spine over to the left and then to the right. So bring your left hand to the side of the chair, either the armrest or the side, and then we'll take the right arm up, lengthen the spine, lengthen the neck, and let the left ear move towards the left shoulder, soften that left shoulder down, and breathe. Find length in the side body. Root down through the feet, and if you're seated, root down through the right hip, through both hip bones, through the pelvis, and breathe, lengthen. Come on back up to center and switch sides. So hand to the side of the chair and side bend. A few breaths. On your inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. The eyes can close if you'd like, or gazing upwards. Come on back up and release the hands down. And we'll repeat that again, and I'll come to standing and do this one standing. You can stay seated or come to standing. So your inhale takes the hands up to the sky, and exhale over to the left side. You can either let the hand drop down, or you can bring that hand to the wrist. You can clasp your hands, so a few options. I'm going to use my left hand and clasp the right wrist and pull it a little bit over to really lengthen a little bit more. Root down through the right foot and find length in the right side body. Coming back up to center And switch sides, taking about 3 breaths. Side bend over towards the right side. Feel the ribs open and expand. Open that shoulder, so rather than collapsing down, see if you can keep an open chest. Come back to center and release the hands back down. Now we'll do another motion for the spine. So a back bend and a forward fold. And I'm going to demonstrate and first start out seated, and then the option of standing. You can take your choice for both of these rounds. So hands at if you're seated, hands at the thighs or the knees. And inhale, lift the head, lift the chest up to the sky, come into a back bend, arching your spine. You can keep your hands down or reach your hands up to the sky into a back bend. And then exhale, fold forward. You can bring your hands to your knees, or let the hands come down and come into a seated forward fold. Very slowly coming back up. We'll do this a couple more times. Inhale, hands can be up or hands can stay down at your thighs. And exhale, fold forward. One more time, inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. And exhale. So you can continue like this, or I'm going to come to standing and demonstrate this time, and I'm going to come sideways. So your inhale, you can reach your hands up to the sky, into a back bend. For each of us, this is going to look a little different. Coming back, just pause for a moment with a straight spine, and then fold forward. The knees can bend. If you have tight hamstrings, it may be helpful to really bend those knees. If you're real flexible, you can keep those knees straight. We're working towards eventually having straight legs, but I'm still working on that. Bend the knees to rise back up. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale, rise back up. And exhale, fold forward, either with your seat or standing, and we'll hang here for a few breaths. If you're standing, maybe grabbing opposite elbow, a little sway side to side, ragdoll pose, maybe releasing the arms and just swaying like a tree, releasing its leaves. What do you need to let go of? Let gravity pull you down. Bring the hands to the shins. Inhale, halfway lift for a flat back. And exhale, fold. 2 more times like this. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. So I could put a cup of coffee or tea on your back and it wouldn't spill for this moment. And then I'll pick up that coffee or tea and release and fold forward. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly coming up 1 vertebra at a time. Standing back in mountain pose or in your seat. Either soften or close the eyes and come back to your intention or the grace that you're seeking or that God is inviting you to. If that is not clear for you at this point, no problem, just breathe. Good. From here we're going to move down to hands and knees on the ground and do some cat-cows. If coming to the ground is not available for you today for whatever reason, you can do this pose in your seat, similar to what we were just doing. But I'm going to come down and demonstrate from the ground, okay? But all of these you can find a way to do it seated. So moving into hands and knees, tabletop pose with the wrists underneath the shoulder and the knees underneath the hips. Hands about shoulder distance apart. And then on the inhale, lift the tailbone up to the sky, lift the head up towards the sky, and arch the spine. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck chin towards chest. Inhale, shine the heart forward. Exhale, curve the spine. So taking a few more of these. Syncing breath with movement. Maybe starting to take the hips side to side. Maybe taking some slow circles. So beginning to move just intuitively. Listen to the body moving either forward and back, side to side, or full circles. And then we'll meet down in child's pose. So bringing the knees wide, big toes together, and the arms can either come extending overhead, you can rest the forehead down on the ground, or let the arms come down along the side. Humbling ourselves before God. Slowly coming back up. This child's pose is always available to come back to. If you need a pause, just to hit that pause button to come back and recenter, come back to your home as God's beloved child. So now we'll lengthen and extend the right leg. So take the right leg back behind you, extend it, and exhale, knee towards the forehead, curve the spine, inhale, lengthen. So like we did before, but just bringing in the movement of the leg. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. And this next exhale, we're going to take a lunge. So bringing the foot between the hands. So you can step it right through, or if you need to use your hand to bring it up there and get the knee. And this is where a blanket could come into use if you're feeling any pain on your left knee. So come into a low lunge. So a little bit of sway forward and back. So you can stay right here in this low lunge, runner's lunge, or you can start to come up standing, clasping your hands, press the right knee forward. Your back toes, the left toes, can either be tucked or untucked. Press the knee forward and lift, shine the heart up to the sky. You can stay right here or reach the arms up to the sky. Root down, ground through the front right foot, the left knee, soften the shoulders, but then lift up through the fingertips. So we're finding this middle between effort and ease, between being contemplative and being active, between the Martha and the Mary part of ourself. So you can stay right here, or bringing your left hand down, right hand can come to right knee, and we'll take a twist. Twisting the spine, right hand can stay on this right knee, or bring the arm up to the sky, taking a twist. The arm can remain lifted, or maybe reaching and taking some circles. Taking a few circles each direction. Your back left knee can stay on the ground, or you can tuck the toes and lift that knee a little bit off the ground. Coming back to center. And then we'll do that just twisting the other way. So right hand can either come and just stacking on top of the right knee and take the left arm up to the sky, or you can bring the hand inside, the fingertips, This is where a block is nice. You may not have a block, but maybe a book, a thicker book. So a hand can either be on the ground, on a block, on a book, on a pillow, or more simply stacking the elbow. And again, those toes can be tucked or untucked. Find what seems to work better and open the chest. Breathe. Good. And coming back, hands on the ground, and we'll then step the foot back, coming back to hands and knees, moving the props aside, maybe taking some cat-cows, maybe moving the hips, maybe coming back to child's pose and reconnecting with the deep breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Continue to re-ground in this intention, in the grace. Perhaps if that's being God's beloved child, just keep coming back to that and feeling as you move, continuing to open up to that. So we'll switch sides now. So taking the right foot back, or the right leg back, the left leg. So take that left leg back. Exhale, left knee towards head, curving the spine in. Inhale, lengthen, lift the head, shine the heart forward. Exhale, crunching in. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunching it in. And then we'll take that foot between the hands. So maybe you take a few steps to get it up there. Maybe you use your hand. Maybe you step it right through into this low lunge. Again, if you have a pillow or a blanket, we'd like to make a little padding for the right knee. Always a nice option. And then just pausing in this runner's lunge. Either palms on the ground or maybe tenting the hands, fingertips, and moving a little bit. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to find a little length, lengthening the hamstring. You're just moving around a little bit, settling into this low lunge. So you can stay right here in this low lunge, continuing to breathe in, continue to lengthen, or coming up, clasping the hands. Try to clasp the hands the other way that you did last time. And lengthening. Press that knee forward. Lift the heart. Breathe. So hands can stay right here, or reach the hands up to the sky. As if you could hold a beach ball or a block between your hands. You're pressing the hands towards each other. Keep them about shoulder distance apart. Again, soften the shoulders down so the shoulders aren't squeezing up towards the ears, but you're relaxing the shoulders down, but then lifting with strong arms, strong fingertips. Maybe coming into a little bit of a back bend, reaching up and back. And then coming into the twist. So right hand comes to the ground, left hand to left knee. Maybe keeping it right there, or maybe you're reaching the arm up to the sky. Option to stay right here, or to take a few circles each direction, opening up that shoulder joint, moving at your own pace, maybe nice and slow, maybe a little faster. If you're looking for a little more energy in the body, or just remaining still and feeling into the stillness of that. And then switching, coming back up, and we'll switch. So the first option, which is a nice place to just begin, would be stacking your left forearm and elbow above the left knee and taking the right arm up to the sky. If you'd like to take a little bit deeper, you can bring your hand to the ground and do that. Or if you have a block or something acting as a block, you can bring your hand there and open the chest, opening your heart, making space to allow the Spirit, to allow God's love and healing and compassion to enter into all the nooks and crannies of your body and soul. And bring your hands back down. Remove the props. And coming Coming back to hands and knees. Finding any motion here, hip side to side. Some more cat-cows. Or back to your child's pose, hitting this pause button, redwelling back in this prostrate pose of humility, of feeling yourself as God's beloved son or daughter or child. Nice, and from here, we're going to come to take a seat. We're going to come to the mat, but you could come back to your chair if it's time to take a break from the floor. And first, to lengthen the legs, we'll come into a seated fold, but first, hands at your side, lengthen the spine, then reach the arms up to the sky, and fold forward, leading with the heart. So keeping length in the spine, and then letting the arms come down where they may. So maybe at the shins, maybe folding a little forward, more towards the ankles, flexing your feet so the toes point back towards you. Maybe if you're real flexible, maybe reaching for the big toes, the outside edge. That, for me, that's quite of a stretch, so I'm going to just rest my arms down along the side of the legs to take a few deep breaths. Breathing into the hamstring. Notice the sensations in the back. Maybe softening the head down. Final couple breaths, maybe deepening a little bit more. Slowly rise back up. Take the arms behind you, and you can just recline back, let the head rest back, or you can start to lift the seat off the ground into this reverse plank, or maybe in a reverse table pose, bending the knees like we were in the tabletop pose, but this is a reverse style of it, so let the head fall back, lift the pelvis, lift the navel, lift the chest, press the feet into the ground, press the hands, either like so or with the legs long, and lower back down. Nice. We'll come to lying down on the ground. So come down gently to rest on your back. First, begin giving yourself a hug, or maybe feeling God in God's embrace, rocking a little bit side to side. And then lengthen the legs. I'm going to move the chair out of the way a little bit because we're going to do some twists, so you make sure you have some space next to you. Good, so beginning with the right leg, squeeze the right leg in towards the chest, flex the feet so the toes are pointing back towards you, and then take the leg up to the sky. If you have a belt or a strap, you could hook it around the ball of the foot here. Really nice. Maybe another time we can do that. Or just take the arms to the hands to the back of the thigh. You can keep the leg up, or start to open that foot out towards the side. Keeping the leg in the air, shining the inner thigh up to the sky. Keep the left hip rooted down. Push the foot, push the heel away. What do you have to resist to guard away that you don't need right now to come into your body, onto your mat, into your practice? Lift the leg back up to the sky, and then we'll take a twist to the other side. So you can scoot the left hip underneath the right hip a little bit. That knee can stay bent, knee can stay straight. And try to keep both shoulders down on the ground. Soften both shoulders. You can keep that left hand on the outside edge of the right leg. And then turn the gaze towards the right side, away from the legs. Turn the gaze over the right shoulder, right arm. And breathe. Feel the twist in the spine, the openness in the chest. Come back to center. Lift the right leg back up to the sky. Bring your head towards the knee, lifting the chest, and then soften and relax the right leg down. Just take a moment, come back to your center, back to your breath, and then we'll switch. Left knee, squeeze the left knee around the left rib cage, up towards the left shoulder, and then take the leg up to the sky. Lengthen, press the heel up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky. Flex both feet, and then start to open out the left leg out to the left side, letting the inner thigh shine up to the sky. Maybe bringing your hand just to that inner thigh. Press the heel. Keep that leg lifted. Breathe deeply. Push the heel like you're pushing a wall away, and come back to center. And then we'll twist the left leg over to the right side. So scooting the right hip underneath left hip. Soften both shoulders down. Turn your gaze across the left shoulder. Breathe. Soften the left shoulder. Imagine a hand, a gentle, loving touch, perhaps of God's hand, just gently resting the left shoulder down a little bit more. Coming back to center, lift the left leg back up to the sky, head towards knee, and gently relax the leg back down to the ground. Again, bringing both knees into the chest, a little sway side to side. And then coming in, as we're in, this is with the theme of the feeling yourself as God's beloved child. Let's come into a happy baby pose. So reaching the arms inside the knees for the outside edge of the feet. Press the feet up towards the sky, the knees bend, but then with the hands pull the feet back down, so there's some resistance with the hands and the feet. And maybe a little rock side to side. And then release the legs down, and we'll come into our final resting pose, corpse pose. Letting the legs come long, let the feet fall open. Bringing the arms down to your side, letting the palms face up towards the sky. Find length in the neck. And begin to settle and soften the whole body. I invite you to stay in this pose if this is comfortable for you. If this does not work for you, you can come to your side, resting on your side, or coming to a seat. But we'll be here for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to come up to a seat to guide us through a meditation. But I invite you to stay in this corpse pose if this is safe and comfortable for you, or to find whatever other pose works for you here. So beginning to just settle in. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice where your body makes contact with the ground. Coming back into the intention or to the grace, perhaps that sense of I am God's beloved child. God is well pleased, or whatever other intention or grace you might have. We will now move throughout different places of the body, bringing your awareness there. As I name the part of the body, just perhaps repeating silently that word, or just bringing your awareness there. Bringing the awareness towards the right hand, the right thumb, perhaps repeating right thumb, or just bringing your awareness there. The right index finger, middle finger, ring finger, the pinky, the back of the right hand, palm of right hand, right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, right shoulder, armpit, side of right body, right hip, thigh, knee, shin, right ankle, top of right foot, sole of foot, right big toe, second toe, third, fourth, pinky toe. Release from the right side of the body and move over to the left hand, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, back of left hand, palm, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left side body, left hip, thigh, knee, shin, left ankle, top of left foot, sole, left big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth toe. Release from the left side body. Bring the awareness to the heels, both heels resting on the ground. The calf muscles, back of thighs, right buttocks, left buttocks, lower back, from the spine, from the tailbone up to the crown of the head. From the crown of the head down to the spine. Low back, middle of back, upper back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade. Bring the awareness to the top of the head, the forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, right eye, left eye, both eyes together. The bridge of the nose, point of the nose, right nostril, left nostril, both nostrils together. Upper lip, lower lip, point where the lips come together. The gums of the mouth, tongue, the teeth and jaw, right ear, left ear, both ears together. Whole right foot and leg, whole left foot and leg, both legs together. Right arm and hand, left arm and hand, both arms together. Whole front of the body, the back of the body, front and back of the body together. The whole body together. Whole body together. Whole body together. Now beginning to let go of awareness of the body. Coming back to the intention, the grace. And begin to visualize yourself, to imagine yourself in a holy, sacred place. Perhaps the river of Jesus' baptism. Perhaps being in the water and feeling yourself being baptized, and the heavens, the skies opening up with a dove descending. Perhaps hearing the voice from the story, "This is my beloved child, with whom I am well pleased." Allowing yourself to settle into God's presence. Perhaps sitting at the feet or journeying with Jesus, with the divine presence. And just allowing time to unfold, to dwell in this presence. Allowing anything to rise, any exchange, any communication. Rest in God's hands. Take, Lord, and receive all my liberty, my memory, my understanding, and my entire will. All I have and possess, you have given all to me. To you, Lord, I return it. Everything is yours. Give me only your love and your grace. That is enough for me. Perhaps staying in this scene and continuing to allow this encounter to unfold between you and Christ, you and the Spirit. Perhaps receiving anything, any blessing, anointing, any gift to send you forth to continue in your journey. Perhaps receiving the embrace, a loving, healing, compassionate embrace. Beginning to depart from this place, starting to return back to awareness of the body resting, coming back to the breath, and feeling the ground beneath you, the clothes on your skin, the temperature in the room or the space you're in. Begin to visualize the room, the place you're in, the furniture around, what the walls look like. Coming back to the breath. Beginning to bring some gentle movement to the fingertips, to the toes, to the wrists or ankles. You're welcome to stay in this pose or begin to make your way out, slowly coming to your side in fetal position, and coming through the posture of rebirth, returning back to your seat, moving gently and staying in your own space, maybe keeping the eyes closed or softened. And then coming back to a seat, coming back to the breath. Just taking a few more moments to breathe in this place of stillness. Notice any shifts in the breath, in the body. Perhaps reflecting back on that experience, perhaps staying and spending even more time in the divine presence with Jesus, with God. Please stay here for as long as you're able to, staying in prayer or just watching the breath. And when you're done, I encourage you to take some time to journal, to write about this experience of breathing, of moving, of engaging the imagination, and dwelling in God's presence. Thank you so much for participating in this in any way that you could. I wish you much peace and blessings. I bow forward to Christ within. Amen.